Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. I bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah, one alone, and I bear witness that Muhammad, the example to us all, is his servant and messenger and the seal of the prophets. I want to thank the leadership of Mosque, Brother Wallace, your supporters, your companion and spouse, Sister Robin, for inviting me to make a few comments on our topic today. And I want to thank all of you for sticking around and sharing with us. A lot of the things that I wanted to say, particularly in Brother Wallace's comments, actually have already been said. So I'm going to try to get through my presentation, and hopefully I won't repeat all of the very important items that have been talked about today. My topic today is the role of Muslims in our association, in politics, and in the political process. Now, you all are going to have to forgive me because I'm going to have to rely heavily on my prepared remarks. I'm not running for office, and generally when I have run for office, I already have what I'm going to say, how I'm going to present it, etc. I don't have that today. So I'm going to have to rely on remarks that I have made notes on so that I can make sure that I convey to you the thoughts that are on my mind and how we can benefit our community. Brothers and sisters, our role cannot be that of the typical role of American citizens. We have a duty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala based on what He has blessed us with as guidance in the Quran and the life example of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the legacy left by our late leader Imam Mohammed. Rahmatullah. We're all familiar with the Imam's legacy of common sense, intelligence, independent thinking, study, independence, research, collective effort, community life, business, economic, social, and yes, even political life. Our topic today is politics, but everything that I just mentioned is affected by the political environment and political activity. Before speaking to our role, let's define a few terms. What is the definition of politics? What is an association? What is government? That's the first thing we want to talk about. And secondly, I want to speak to you about my own involvement in the political process. I only mention some of those roles that I've played to serve as encouragement for some of you and reminders to others of you that sit at various tables for a number of reasons. One reason, at least in my view, is that we are there to relay other information to you, to serve. We're not there because we just chose to be there. If we're there just because we chose to be there, then we're missing the point. We have a responsibility to share what we have learned with our association, with our community, with the community that gave us birth. There is no Bashir without this community.
That's right.
And I have been conscious of that in every role I've played, as was articulated in my bio. And you'll find that in any activity that I've been involved in. Thirdly, I want to speak about the American Coalition for Good Government, a coalition that has been developed out of our community, out of our history, and out of our association. I also want to encourage your participation in the coalition. I also want you to know that your participation is important, particularly as you sit down in the various groups that we all sit down in from time to time. But we must speak with our own voice and not just be bystanders in the process. And then lastly, I want to hopefully entertain some questions. We'll have a question and answer period. That's the order that I'd like to go in if we can. So according to Webster's Dictionary, the 2019 edition, politics is defined as, and let me just give you some of the definitions. There are many definitions of politics. But one definition is the art or science of government. It's the art or science of government. Some people will say it's an art. Some people will say it's a science. We'll have to examine that and determine for ourselves what that means. Another definition is the art or science concerned with guiding or influencing government policy. A third definition is the art or science concerned with winning and holding control over government. And lastly, on the definition of politics, according to Merriam-Webster, the total complex of relations between people living in society. I'm taking for granted that I'm not telling you something you don't already know. It is important that we understand the environment that we're in, because we make certain assumptions based on our education, our experiences, etc. And the people that are controlling these things have a very different definition of what those things are than we might have. So we need to know what's on the playing field, what are we dealing with, what are the rules, etc. The next definition, according to Merriam-Webster, as regards association. The association, obviously, is the act of associating. Another definition is the organization of persons having a common interest. I think that might define us to some extent, correct? A third definition that they give is something linked in memory or imagination with a thing or person. I think that might apply to us as well. The last definition I'll give on association is the process of forming mental connections or bonds between sensations, ideas, and memories. I think that one kind of adequately defines us as well. The other definition I'd like to give is that of government, which is a noun. Government is defined, according to Merriam-Webster, as the act or process of governing, specifically authoritative control and direction. Another definition is the office, authority, or function of governing. Another definition is the continuous exercise of authority over the performance of functions of a political unit. I'll give three other definitions. The organization, machinery, or agency through which a political unit exercises authority and performs functions, and which is usually classified according to the distribution of power within it. Another one, the complex of political institutions, laws, and customs through which the function of governing is carried out. And lastly, the officials comprising the governing body of a political unit and constituting the organization as an active agency. The government was slow to react to a crisis, and that's just a footnote in the definition. So now that we've described what politics is according to Merriam-Webster, what an association is, and what government is, let's talk a little bit more about us. There are three main types of city government under the state of Illinois Constitution. For those who live in the state of Illinois, it may be different in other states. And these three types of city government council manager, which either comes with a strong or weak mayor, the council manager form, and the commission form. Although few governments use the commission form of government, it is my understanding that form of government was found unconstitutional in the state of Illinois. But under a council manager mayor form of government, mayor form of government, which we have in the city of Chicago, you have a council. You have 50 aldermen that are elected in their own wards. They become the council, and then you have an executive, a mayor, a person who runs for that office and becomes the chief executive of the office. Now, many people think that the city of Chicago is a strong mayor form of government, and that is probably the way we've been orientated toward the city of Chicago. Actually, the form of government in Chicago is a weak mayor form of government. It's not a strong mayor form of government. It's only strong in the sense that the chief executive becomes powerful, and they have the ability to